This week on ATV News, conflict continues in Syria despite the UN vote for a ceasefire. A deadly storm hits the East Coast and companies are taking steps to limit the sale of firearms. I'm Max Bokoko.
And I'm Savannah McCann.
ATV News starts now. A deadly nor'easter hit the U.S. East Coast this week, resulting in power outages, felled trees, and 5 deaths. The storm, which recently earned the title of bomb cyclone, hit the East Coast with strong winds and heavy mixes of rain and snow. High tides and large coastal flooding in cities like Boston left many roads impassable, with waters approaching shin level and higher in some parts of the city. As of recording this broadcast, Maryland and Virginia governors have issued states of emergency in hopes of administering aid to those most affected by this week's deadly storm.
Walmart and Dick's Sporting Goods have taken steps to limit the sales of firearms. The two leading gun retailers announced that they would no longer sell guns to anyone under the age of 21. In addition, Walmart will no longer be selling items that resemble assault-style rifles. This includes toys and air guns. Dick's Sporting Goods has ended the sale of assault-style rifles in stores and will no longer sell high-capacity magazines. These two stores have joined a large group of major companies that are moving to disassociate themselves from the NRA.
Let's turn to Tenny Odutan for your business report.
Thanks, Max. I'm Tenny Odutan with your business report. Department store chain JCPenney says it has cut more than 300 jobs after reporting low sales at established stores for the quarter that included the holiday season. It also developed a mute outlook as its shares fell 6%. JCPenney eliminated 130 positions across all department stores in its Plano, Texas headquarters and said restructuring regional, district, and store support teams to eliminate bureaucracy led to 230 jobs cut. It estimated the cuts will save $20 million to $25 million per year. The company, like many department stores, is trying to cut costs and reach more than shoppers by jumping back and forth between physical department stores and online stores. The department stores, which are heavily dependent on clothing sales, are seeing more competition as Amazon expands into the fashion business. For ATV News, I'm Tenny Odutan.
Thanks, Tenny.
This seems to be a major trend, of a lot of stores closing stores, laying off workers. It's sad to see.
I know. With the rising convenience of online shopping, they just don't really have a place in the market. Only time will tell to see what actually happens.
Right. Let's turn to Alexandra Ruiz for your politics report.
Thanks, Savannah. I'm Alexandra Ruiz with your political report. The gun control debate continues following the mass shooting in Parkland, Florida on February 14th. President Donald Trump is entertaining the idea of raising the gun purchasing age to 21. This proposal is concerning for many constitutionalists who believe that people who are old enough to serve in the military are also old enough to protect themselves with firearms. Additionally, more people are opposing gun control legislation because it seems that federal, state, and local governments fail to execute current laws in terms of the reports they received about Parkland shooter Nicholas Cruz. President Donald Trump is following through on his campaign commitment to protect American industry. On Thursday, the White House revealed that the president is set to impose a 25% tariff on imported steel and a 10% tariff on imported aluminum. These tariffs will likely result in higher prices, but will also protect the steel, aluminum, and manufacturing industries. The tariffs will likely please voters in battleground states ahead of the 2018 midterm elections. Check in with us in the next few weeks to learn more about how these tariffs will affect voters in the Rust Belt. As the nation prepares for the 2018 midterm election, a USA Today Suffolk University poll found that 58% of the people surveyed plan to vote for congressmen that will mostly confront Trump, not work with him. The poll also found that Democrats and Republicans disagree on the state of the nation. More than 80% of the Democrats surveyed say the nation is headed in the wrong direction, while 70% of Republicans disagreed, saying the nation is headed in the right direction. For ATV News, I'm Alexandra Ruiz.
Thanks, Alexander.
It's really interesting that you can vote, enter the Army, and buy an assault rifle at age 18, but you can't drink, that's age 21.
Exactly, and it's really interesting to see that stores are changing the age to 21, even though the law isn't 21. It's going to be interesting to see if they decide to make a law that states now it's 21, or if they're going to stay with 18. Mm-hmm. The Maryland Senate unanimously passed a revision of a cyberbullying law. Grace's Law, which passed in 2013, made the act of repeatedly and maliciously bullying someone a misdemeanor charge. Grace's Law 2.0, which is expected to hit the Senate floor next week, allows for school principals to report directly to law enforcement rather than having to go through a school board first. The bill also broadens the scope of social media cyberbullying. This now includes creating fake profiles and defines clear speech that will not be protected.
The last male northern rhino has fallen gravely ill, meaning the survival of the species as a whole is at stake. The 45-year-old rhino is surrounded by armed guards 24/7, protecting him from potential hunters at the Ol Pejeta Conservancy in Kenya. The male developed an infection on his right leg last year, and while it was treated, an additional infection had developed on top of the infection. With 2 female companions alongside him, if the male doesn't survive this infection, the hopes of reviving the endangered species will not survive with it. Let's hope for the best. Let's turn to Zshekinah Collier with your entertainment report.
I'm Zshekinah Collier with your entertainment report. Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino, purchased 113 boxes of Girl Scout cookies this week from a 6-year-old girl named Charity Joy, who sang a parody of Glover's hit song Redbone to sell cookies. Since her video went viral, Joy has sold thousands of boxes of cookies. Serena Williams received a large surprise this week after her husband Alexis Ohana paid for a series of billboards of their daughter that stated Williams is the greatest mama of all time. Ohana paid for billboards on I-10 in Palm Springs, California, in honor of Williams returning to competitive tennis this week. Join the K Spiritual Life Center and the Gianni Lounge for a screening of Coco this Tuesday from 9 p.m. Take a break from studying for midterms, grab a slice of pizza, and watch an Oscar-nominated film with the Methodists. If you missed the screening on Tuesday, join the K Spiritual Life Center for the next month for movie night with the Methodists. Head to your local movie theater this Friday to see the fantasy novel A Wrinkle in Time come to life on the silver screen. Ava DuVernay directed the film, and Oprah Winfrey, Reese Witherspoon, Mindy Kaling, and Storm Reed are starring in it. For ATV News, I'm Zshekinah Collier.
Thanks, Zshekinah.
You know, I don't really blame Childish Gambino for buying 113 boxes of supposedly all Thin Mints.
Really? I'm a fan of shortbreads personally. Those are my favorites.
An interesting choice.
What are yours?
Mine's Samoa's.
Oh, I see.
For sure. Or
Gotcha.
known in New England as Caramel Delights.
I don't know.
Me either. Let's turn to Nadia Slocum for your sports report.
Thanks, Savannah. I'm Nadia Slocum with your sports report. Now that the Olympics are over, we can focus on the hoops. Unfortunately, our home team, the Washington Wizards, have not scored well this week. The Wizards lost 109-101 to the Golden State Warriors on Wednesday, and then lost 102-95 to the Toronto Raptors yesterday. Hopefully, the Wizards will have better luck this week when they play the Miami Heat at the Capital One Arena this Tuesday. Let's turn to our beloved Eagles. American University's women's basketball has played exceptionally this season and has won 23 of their 29 games. The team is set to compete in the Patriot League's quarterfinals on Monday. Let's go Eagles. For ATV News, I'm Nadia.
Thanks, Nadia.
Here at ATV, we wish a good luck to our ladies in their upcoming quarterfinals.
Ryan Seacrest is the host of the Oscars pre-show and is facing public criticism. This is following a Variety magazine article detailing sexual harassment allegations from his former stylist. People are calling for E! News to remove Seacrest from the red carpet. The network conducted a thorough investigation and found insufficient evidence against the claim. Celebrities and their publicists are threatening that if Seacrest is not removed from the red carpet, they will avoid interviews with him. Let's turn to John Mousseau for your science report.
Thanks, Savannah. I'm John Mousseau with your science report. During the International Space Station Research and Development Conference, numerous authors and scientists once again expressed concerns regarding the development of artificial intelligence capable of disrupting the economic vitality, military hardware, and infrastructure of every nation on the planet. Both Elon Musk and Russian President Vladimir Putin articulated this trend in September of 2017. Musk tweeted, quote, "Competition for AI superiority at the national level will be the most likely cause of World War III, in my opinion," end quote. While Putin tweeted, quote, "Whoever becomes the leader in this sphere will become the ruler of the world," end quote. This past Thursday, Vladimir Putin also delivered his annual presidential address to the Federal Assembly at the Manez Central Exhibition Hall, presenting several new weapon systems which purportedly negate American anti-ballistic missile capabilities. These weapon systems include an anti-aircraft laser weapon system and cruise missiles that utilize nuclear propulsion to achieve speeds exceeding Mach 10. However, many of these projects have not left the prototype or even the concept stage in development, and information regarding their success or failure is not verifiable. Utilizing an innovative and highly detailed heat map that tracks rates of child malnutrition, the BBC has reported that despite what Kofi Annan referred to as, quote, astonishing improvement in sub-Saharan Africa and eastern and southern regions, quote, no single African country is set to end childhood malnutrition by 2030, end quote. Nevertheless, both the BBC and Annan emphasize the indispensable role heat maps play in strategic policy-making solutions. For ATV News, I'm John Mousseau.
Thanks, John.
You know, Savannah, the rate at which AI is advancing, pretty soon here at ATV, we're going to be replaced by AI. I mean, honestly, it's crazy.
Oh my gosh, haven't we seen Black Mirror? We know that we can't let this happen. It's scary.
It can't happen. Cleveland Cavaliers player J.R. Smith was suspended for one game after reportedly throwing soup on a Cleveland Cavaliers assistant coach. It was 2 hours before Thursday night's loss against the Philadelphia 76ers that the shooting guard Smith was reportedly suspended due to, quote, detrimental conduct. Fans all over have taken to social media to highlight and make fun of the allegations of Smith with comedic gifs and memes depicting him with soup. Smith eventually returned to practice on Friday for their Saturday game against the Denver Nuggets. Let's turn to Margot Wright for your World News Report.
Thanks, Max. I'm Margot Wright with your World News Report. Violent conflict is still taking place in Syria, despite the United Nations vote for a ceasefire on February 24th. A United Nations Council diplomat reported that North Korea is sending Syria supplies, such as acid-resistant tiles, thermometers, and valves, that the government could use to produce chemical weapons. However, Syrian President al-Assad has repeatedly denied producing chemical weapons in his regime. At least 260 people were killed and 500 were injured as a result of the Syrian regime's bombardment in eastern Ghouta. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said that the violence in Syria that families endured was, quote, hell on earth, end quote. Almost 40,000 people are trapped in eastern Ghouta in need of humanitarian aid. Leaders of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem closed the church's doors this week to protest two laws. One that makes it harder for church owners to sell land, and one that would require churches that are used as schools and hotels, not just places of worship, to pay taxes. The church reopened its doors after the Israeli government suspended its plan to tax churches. A Franciscan clerk said, quote, it's important to reopen the doors of the church to let the people who sometimes come once in their life to visit the holy place, because a holy place without people is nothing, only the stones, end quote. For ATV News, I'm Margot Wright.
Thanks, Margot. Hearing the testimonies on the Syria situation is awful. Just the lives lost, the families broken. It's just sad that we have to report on it week after week.
Exactly, it's terrible, and to read about it every week and that a ceasefire didn't work it's saddening.
It's very saddening.
Let's turn to Alexandra Sharat with your lifestyle report.
Thanks, Savannah. I'm Alexandra Sharat with your lifestyle report. Are you looking for a place to eat besides TDR? The District Line Restaurant and Bar recently opened on Connecticut Avenue. The restaurant specializes in contemporary American comfort food. It is open daily. The Women's Voices Theater Festival is coming to a close today. DC theaters joined together for the festival to showcase 24 new plays written by women, including Familiar, Handbagged, and Waxing West. The festival also consisted of special events, panels, and workshops to celebrate and support the work of women in theater. To learn more about some of the plays that have run in the past 2 months, visit www.womensvoicestheaterfestival.org. For ATV News, I'm Alexandra Sharat.
Thanks, Alexandra. You know, I am excited about new restaurants opening. However, I'm a Subway girl at heart, so I think I'm going to stick to my on-campus Subway.
Unbelievable. That's it for ATV News this week. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
I'm Savannah McCann.
And I'm Max Bococole. See you next week.